This is Rice Productions.
Welcome everybody to CRTC Toronto, AM 840, part of the Canadian Radio Broadcasting Commission, or CRBC for short, Canada's first public broadcaster and the federal regulator of Canadian broadcasting, established in 1932. This is
Radioactive,
hosted by yours truly, Benjamin Claude, and my Pikerova co-host, Malcolm.
First, we bring you a report from the Moose River Gold Mine in Nova Scotia every half hour, where 3 miners are trapped in a mine collapse. This report is also being broadcast over 650 stations in America and the BBC in Britain.
Absolutely! The CRBC is live on the scene in Nova Scotia, where 3 miners are trapped in a mine underground after a collapse. This tragic event has gotten worse, as we have just gotten word that 1 miner has died. But there is good news on the way, as crews are digging another entrance to try and extract these miners. More reports will come every half hour. Now back to the news station in Toronto.
Moving on, today on our show, we will be focusing on the history of the amazing device known as the radio. We will take a look on the big cheeses of the radio industry and how they have created and invented the radio that 60% of Americans used between 1923 and 1930.
It seemed like a lifetime ago when Reginald Fessenden transmitted the first human voice by radio to a receiver over a mile away in 1900s, when Guglielmo Marconi sent and received the first wireless transmission on December 12, 1901.
However, after those life-changing transmissions, many new improvements led to the common-day radio.
Yes, the good old times. When the radio was only used for navigators at sea and only communicated through Morse code. Although, even at the time, the radio still saved thousands of lives as it reduced the isolation of ships.
From the simple Morse code era, the radio has taken a change for the better. That simple concept for the radio resulted in the famous crystal radios of the 20th century, which used simple crystalline material attached to wires which picked up radio signals. Invented by Greenleaf Whittier Pickard, they revolutionized the 20th century by their ease to make
now
and
for
use.
paid advertising.
Come get your noodles at the Noodle House.
This made unofficial broadcasting simple, as the crystal sets were very inexpensive and they took minimal effort and knowledge.
Right back on air after a message from our sponsors.
2.3 million families are using the most up-to-date vacuum-tubed radios, so why isn't yours? It's the real McCoy, truly nifty. Visit one of our many stores in Canada and the USA to buy one, so all of your family can enjoy the crisp music, shows, and the most current news that the radio has to offer.
Unfortunately, though, when America entered the war in 1917, all radio broadcasting, which was made possible by the invention of the audio tube by DeForest in 1906, the tube permitted modulation of the sound came to a standstill as the government all radio was taken over by the U.S. Navy to prevent possible use by spies, and the development of the new equipment was protected from patent infringement suits by government order. Broadcasting was being regulated under the Wireless Act of 1910.
But even in those harsh times, passionate soldiers could still listen to the little broadcasts from around the world by creating their own foxholes, radios with lead and scrap metal. At the end of the war in 1919, as a replacement of the usually noisy and inefficient radio signals produced by spark transmitters, an approach to develop continuous waves on a single frequency was the development of high-speed electrical alternators created by Alexanderson. His alternator transmitter was considered so important that it triggered the formation of the Radio Corporation of America.
Luckily, with the world at temporary peace, and the radio industry came back with a roar, and many advances were made to the radio and its broadcasting. As of the late 1910s and early 1920s, the radio was made more practical by crystal sets, and thousands of locals had begun to broadcast. After the first broadcast on Christmas Eve 1906, in 1919, Dr. Frank Conrad's station KDKA in Pittsburgh, owned by Westinghouse, was viewed as the first commercially licensed radio station, and its first broadcast was of election results from the 1920 presidential election.
Shortly after Dr. Frank Conrad's radio station, Canada's own XWA in Montreal, began broadcasting on May 20th, 1920. Owned by the Marconi Wireless Telegraph Company.
With the vast interest of radio in the 1920s, many technological advances were made to the radio to enhance its overall performance. None other than improved vacuum tubes of the previous radio into robust and powerful amplifiers, which would revolutionize the radio reception. Now, the whole family could enjoy listening to their radio due to the loudspeaker.
The golden age of radio was not only the addition of a loudspeaker instead of headphones, but now, due to the addition of longer-lasting batteries and more radio stations than ever, The portable radio became available for the wealthy individual or families.
Nevertheless, the still popular stationary radio was the bee's knees technology, as different transmitters with different frequencies made it possible to listen to a variety of AM and FM stations. Also, with the addition of AC-powered radio, less wasteful batteries were conserved, while the continuing current of energy supplied the watt-powered radios in the late 1920s.
With 60% of American households containing a radio, the radio's role had changed drastically from simple Morse code communication and news shows to companies beginning to broadcast radio shows as entertainment and radio advertisements as infomercials.
Throughout this show, we have talked about the radio from its origin of a mere crystal set to the vacuum tube entertainment machine, which it became by the 1930s.
This has been
Radioactive
for this week, brought to you by Timothy Eaton Company Limited Department Stores. Our clothes will have you looking spiffy for low prices. Thank you for listening, and now we bring you to our irregular 1-hour CRBC broadcast of symphony music.